Okay, so let's get started. Looks like we have some new people on this call, which is great. We're going to go in, if everyone saw the email, we're going to talk a little bit about gathering content today, gathering that fast and efficiently, and then on top of that, we'll go in and have Josh do a little demonstration of both the MyTours and OnCell Builder and kind of building that tour from scratch. The one thing we want to reiterate is these meetings today have been pretty basic in terms of what you can do with the OnCell MyTours Builder. Mainly just about how do I start and where do I go from there, and aesthetically, maybe with how's the best way to build out these tours. So I will share my screen and we will get into just kind of gathering content and how we can do that fast and efficiently. All right, so back to the basics. So in terms of planning and content gathering, the first thing that we've been telling people lately, especially if you're in a larger organization, is creating what we call as an expedited approval process. This expedited approval process is going to help you in terms of when you're gathering content or when you're planning, who can I go to sign off on this quick? How many people are we going to have to get through? Because unfortunately, these approval processes can sometimes kind of hold things up. We have a lot of people who have to correspond with Apple and Google Play, and that kind of takes some higher ups to get involved. So that main thing there is, who's the timeline of people we can go to, and how fast can we get certain things approved. In terms of digital assets on hand, the next thing to think about when you're building a tour is what content do I already have, and that will help you figure out what content do I still have to create. So in terms of content on hand, you can use anything that you really have, your digital collection, if you have a digital collection. Maybe you'll have staff make videos. This is all stuff that's going to need to be planned out in case outsourcing needs to be brought into it. But not only that, it also helps you see, like, maybe you can build a tour already from scratch without ever creating new content. One app we saw recently, it was the Chicago Institute of Art. They have something called an Essentials Tour. It's a really short tour, and this tour would basically just go through just kind of the key points or key pieces within the museum. I think it was about a 10-minute tour, but it was really good because it was simple. It would be content that people would already have on hand, maybe if you want to pull from your digital collection. So this kind of helps in the planning process of what tours are going to take longer to create, and then what tours can probably be created, this week or this month. In terms of creating that project timeline, it's kind of similar to figuring out what those digital assets look like, mainly because that project timeline is going to include outsourcing, how long it's going to take to set up that Apple and Google Play Store. That project timeline is going to include a launch date, and this is something we suggest you talk in depth to your client manager about, because we get a lot of questions of like, oh, well, how many pieces are going to need to really come together before this launches? And that's when we can kind of come in and say, okay, you'll need to do this at this point, and at this point you'll need to have this completed. And it's okay if you don't stick to that timeline. Nothing needs to be perfect, but it will just give you guidelines and what action items are coming up so that you can get this tour up and running eventually. In terms of creating in-house content or outsourcing, I've mentioned this in the planning process just now. That's really going to make a big difference in your action items. You'll probably, a lot of times we help people with that content aspect. If it's outsourcing, if you need a certain voice for some audio, that's what we do as well. So again, talk to your client manager, and on top of that, if this is something you can do in-house, that's another component to think about. Content gathering, like I said, using some digital assets that you have, website content, past social media posts, blog posts, images, video, audio, any content that is on hand in the institution or that you already maybe even have on your laptops or computers is all things that can go in the app. The other thing is public domain. The Flickr, the Commons is a great one to use. They have a lot of historical photos, Canva photos, Pexels, and Unsplash. A lot of times we tell anyone nature-wise or US Forest clients or park clients to use those, because those have some really nice scenic photos, and it doesn't need to be 100% of your site, but they do provide some good fillers that you could use throughout a tour. And then also having your team record or create videos is another good strategy. We have a lot of people recording videos just of their staff members. US Forest Rangers will record videos sometimes sharing certain trails, sharing maybe favorite animals that they'll see along the way. And this is just a really fun interactive component because it brings your staff into that as well. So you're not just creating content, but you're creating content with people who know your site the best. And that's really that's really priceless. And same with docents. A lot of times we'll tell people you can, video docents walking through the museum or something like that, and then you can videotape them, and it will be similar to a virtual reality experience or a virtual tour. But these are ones that they don't really take that much time if you do it in-house like this, but at the same time will provide really decent value in your app. And then just sharing ideas, research other apps, download other apps, look at other apps. What did they do that you liked? The best thing you can do is come to us with ideas and ask us, can we implement this? How can we implement this? Is this something that the MyTours or OnCell Builder has the features for? And if it's not, it's something we can discuss. If so, then we can show you how to add that component. So this is all really important in terms of setting up this app for success. And another thing I'd mentioned earlier today in our first meeting in terms of content gathering, a lot of people are doing at this time social media contests. People are at home. If you don't have images of your institution right now, chances are your followers or your visitors, they do, that they've come to your organization and they've taken photos and maybe they want to share those. And the best part about that is with their permission, you could also put those in the app as well. So you don't always need photos that you've taken on site. If you would like to include photos that other visitors have taken, that's a great thing to do as well. So in terms of making the experience engaging, we've mentioned this a few times and I wanted to come back to it. Quizzes, push notifications, surveys, videos, maps, and badges. Some of these are available on MyTours, some are only available on OnCell, such as badges. But in terms of letting people drive the experience, we suggest surveys. What do your visitors want to see? What do your users want to learn about? Maybe there's something in the app that you don't have. Maybe there's something that they would like you to add. A survey is a great way to do that. And another question that we got recently is, how do I know who is using it off-site and on-site? Add a survey in. So anyone who comes to the app, there will be a survey maybe on that landing page saying, are you using this at home or are you using this on site? If you're closed, obviously they'll be using it from home recently. But when you reopen, that might be a great one to know. When we reopen, how many people are consistently using this app off-site? That would be a nice one, especially in terms of learning aspects in classrooms. Push notifications, this is something you can just send out really quickly. Fun facts, content updates, just a quick hello to stay engaged with your users. That video is really going to mirror an on-site experience. We say, put video in as much as you can. It's engaging, it's interesting. It will pull people in and make that storyline for them something that they want to keep exploring. Mapping is a great one, not only on-site because of wayfinding, but mapping can also help people kind of visualize what the institution looks like, maybe on which floor their favorite painting is. It's a great one to use just because they can visualize being inside the institution versus at home. Badges, like I said, we say gamification on here at least 20 times a day. The best thing you can do is gamify your app, add in quizzes and badges, make it something that people are going to see as a value. We have someone, which Christina is on the line, I saw. We do have a client right now who is charging admission for their app and it has been going pretty well. They gamified it, they added some badges, they added quizzes, and because of that, it is now of greater value and people are willing to pay that small admission fee in order to use this app, and now they have that extra revenue stream. So gamifying it and making it an experience that people can use over and over, it's really important, and in the end of the day, it will pay off in ways that you maybe didn't see prior. So in terms of building the tour from start, I'm going to hand it over to Josh, who's going to demonstrate the MyTours and OnCell Builder. Again, this is going to be really basic. I'm sure everyone has built out these tours before. One thing that we do suggest is there might be tips and tricks along the way that you maybe didn't know about, the best way to use folders, maybe the best way in MyTours on adding certain content and where. So definitely just stick with it. All of these are going to be recorded as well, and we're going to upload them to our YouTube and send that out. But just so everyone knows, this is going to be more basic today, and then the next couple weeks, I think we're going to go a little bit more in depth on those badges, those quizzes, photo filters, and anything else you guys want to see. And in terms of questions, we do have the Q&A open, so feel free to put your questions in there. Even if there is something that we're not covering that you would like to see in terms of building the tour, put that in the chat and we will pass it over to Josh to also demonstrate. All right, Josh, over to you.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so like mentioned, I'll kind of walk through creating a tour on the MyTours and the OnCell Builder. We started with OnCell this morning, so I was going to do MyTours first today, or this afternoon. OnCell is a little bit more involved, so we'll have plenty of time for that. So I'm going to share my screen now and get started. Okay, is everybody able to see my screen? So
Yeah,
we have the MyTours builder here. So logging in when you're first in, switch here. So starting out, you might have a tour built out already, or you might be starting from scratch. So for the purposes of today, we'll start a brand new one. So we'll create that tour. We can give it a name. We'll just call it tour number 1. First option you have here is description about this tour. So this is kind of just, a small introduction or teaser for the user who's going to be taking this tour. In addition to that, telling them exactly, how long it's going to take, if there is a time that it might take them, or if there's a range of time, or if there's no time, you can leave it blank. And same goes for distance. So if it's, a mile one way, or if it's a loop, the option is there for that. In addition, what type of tour it is. So if it's walking, cycling, kind of anything you've got there. And then also just kind of what language it's in. In terms of the stops themselves, the template here has an introduction, stop 1, and then kind of a conclusion. The conclusion and introduction don't necessarily need to be there, but it is an option kind of just given off the bat. If we go into edit here, you can rename. So maybe this is actually just stop 1. If there's a subtitle or anything like that, and if you want to include kind of written directions, so this could be written directions from stop to stop, or if there's kind of more to see within this particular stop, that could be a spot to put that. And then your text here. So in there, kind of off the bat, is just some information about uploading your media, kind of some helpful tips. And all the media for MyTours is uploaded in this one spot, just images, video, YouTube links, and audio, all right here. Since we renamed that one stop 1, we could switch this to be stop 2. And with MyTours, you don't have to worry about creating those next and previous links. They're just there standard as you're building out these stops. The other option here, the design. So this is where you can upload tour-wide graphics. So this would be in your list of tours. This is the image that's going to show up. So any icons for all the different layouts possible. And then also the option to customize that color scheme. Plotting stops on the map. And mapping is something we'll get into in more detail in a later one of these, but just the option here, you can drag these different points right onto the map there. And then lastly is linking that tour to your app. So if you don't have an app already created, this would be the time to do so. And if you do already have that app created, you'll see your list of tours and the available ones you can link to it. And so on the app side, so I do already have one created here. I'll just create a new one. So we'll just call it app 1. And again, same description, keywords, and these would be the description and keywords used in the Google Play and Apple App Store. All of the apps built on MyTours are a native app downloaded from both stores. Again, same sort of design, the different images and icons that are used, and then also the color scheme. The Pages tab, this would be kind of your more information, the About Us, those sorts of pages.
And Josh, a question just on Apple and Google and how long it's taking them to upload the new tours.
Sure. So new, excuse me, new tours, they actually don't require a new approval process by Apple or Google Play. Actually, I should say, if they're free tours, they do not require that. Paid tours do go through a review process. So it's really only if you're changing the app itself that there's that review process, and that is anywhere a week to 2 weeks. Apple, during the current situation, actually, Apple seems to be a little bit quicker, and Google Play is taking a little bit longer. And so that last step is just linking your tour to the app. And then the last step back on the MyTours tab is to actually review and publish that app. So you just submit that tour for review. And then we just have to approve that on our admin side, unless it's set to auto approve. And once that's done, it's just a content update for users who already have the app downloaded. Do we have any questions on the MyTours builder setting up a tour there? If not, we'll jump over to OnCell.
I don't think any questions are coming through yet. One thing I know, there is some people online who at one point were interested in the version 3 we were working on of MyTours. Just so you know, we are still working on it. There are some apps that are launched on the version 3. We will be working, you will also see just now, OnCell has certain features that the MyTours does not have, because they kind of function more for, MyTours is more linear, less customizable, but works really great for tour operators and things like that. OnCell is really for that glam sector, museums, historical sites. That's worked out really well for them. But we are currently working on version 3 and kind of getting that feature parity. So eventually MyTours will have badges and it will have everything that OnCell has currently. And we are working on that. We do have certain clients on that, such as the Walt Disney Family Museum is on that one currently, if you want to look up that app in stores and kind of see how version 3 is working for them. But if you are interested in version 3, feel free to reach out to your client manager and let them know, and we'll see if your app right now is a good candidate to kind of be migrated over, and what we could do. Because a lot of times we have been getting questions, what's the difference between MyTours and OnCell? But we are working on consolidating both platforms into that version 3. All right, and I'm not seeing any other questions coming through for MyTours, so we'll go over to the OnCell Builder, and you can kind of take a look at that. And again, if you are interested in version 3, maybe it might be good to stick around and just check out this OnCell Builder side to see what kind of features might be available to you eventually.
Perfect. Yep. So here is the OnCell Builder. And so setting up a tour here, if you're starting a brand new project, you'll see kind of the sites already laid out there. These site 1, 2, and 3, kind of just as a template. If you've already been working in here, you probably don't have those sites anymore. So for today, we will just create a brand new page and go through the steps that way. And to do that, we will use the folder here. So there's a folder that I did already create called tour number 1, which is where we will work out of. And the folders, if in-app downloads are not enabled, then the folders really just function as kind of an organizational way in the builder here to organize your content in different pages. So we'll start just creating a new page. we'll call it template, and then add the widgets that you're planning to use. I like to, just kind of as a best practice, create that templated page, adding all the widgets that you're planning to use, and and understanding that for some pages the widgets might not be the same. You might be adding a video to certain pages that others might not have, but it's just a good way to not have to recreate these blank pages each and every time. So we'll add an image, we'll add a text box, maybe an audio file, and then we'll add the buttons that will become the previous and next buttons. And I'm just going to move the audio file up above the text. And since we're going to be copying this page, it might make sense to just put in this next and previous text. We don't have the other pages, so we can't set the links yet. So we'll be coming back and editing that to do. And then we'll just create 3 or so pages right now. So we'll just copy this a few times. And then once you have the amount of pages that you're going to be using, you can go back and rename those to the appropriate names, and then also upload any content to them. So we'll just rename this stop 1. Another nice feature too that you do have is the page caption. So the page caption is a way to kind of add notes to page titles that only show up in the builder. The end user of the app wouldn't be seeing this. So for this, we can call it Tour 1. Stop 2. And again, Tour 1. Stop 3. And then next would be going about setting these links from the next and previous buttons. So since this is stop 1, it's going to be linking to stop 2. And since it is stop 1, we can delete that there. One other option, actually there are 2 other options for the previous and next buttons. And on the next kind of tour, we'll do the other option. One other one though is, so under the page properties, clicking on the top header here, under advanced is this next and previous page here. So you can set this to be stop number 2. Since there is no previous page, we can leave that one blank. And this will give the user the option to just swipe left or right as they're in the app instead of actually clicking a button. Previous and next buttons. And then the last thing you're going to need for the tour itself is a tour landing page. And some different options you have here would be, again, still any of the media available, images, audio, text, anything like that. So we'll do a text or an image and a text widget. And then the next option would be a button that can just link to stop 1. So we'll just, this will be our begin tour button. So a good option if it's just kind of a linear tour that's going to go, from stop 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth. And then we're going to use this template for the next tour as well. So we'll just drag this up to main pages. We'll go back there and then we'll create our new tour folder. Call this tour 2, save it, and then we're going to drag that template into it. Okay, there we go. And for this one, we'll actually use the question came up earlier on the webinar earlier about using the 2-column list as an option. So for this tour, we will use that. So the list widget, which you may be familiar of, adding a number of pages to it, but it can also be used as a 2-column list widget and give you the option to use it kind of as a previous and next button. So once we have our other pages, we can create that. So we'll do the stop 1. And we'll edit this list. And we did already check the box over here to make it a 2-column list. So next we can just set this link to stop number 2, call it next. Because this is stop 1, there is no previous button again. But on stop 2, we'll link this to stop number 3, call it next. And then add another one that links back to stop number 1, call it previous. I do sometimes forget the order of the list, so we can just drag and drop to switch those. Create another tour landing page. Add in our media, and then for this one, another option. So if you wanted to just list out all of the stops within this tour, as opposed to a begin tour button that just takes you from page to page, you could add a list. That shows up with every stop. And so again, it's just add item linking to, add that to the list. It'll show up here, and then you can keep going. So then we'll add our third one. Once they're all there, we can click done. And then the last step would be to create that kind of overall select a tour page that you can select which tour you're wanting to go to. So we'll create a new page. We'll call it select a tour. And again, you could have any different media here, and this could be achieved through either a button two or more buttons, or using the list again. And then just adding your tour landing pages. This label field here, if you leave it blank, it's just going to pull in the page name, or if you do have something else that you want to call it, you can type that in right there. And then our tour 2. Once that page is created, we can link it from the home page. So if you have a select a tour option on your home page, and then you can just select that from your list. And again, click done. And then if you do have anything on your global navigation buttons down here, like a sites list, would be a good spot, again, to just add that tour landing page to. And then we can publish. And then while that's publishing, have there been any questions come through?
I'm not seeing any questions come through specifically about OnCell or MyTours. Also, anyone who's on OnCell, the reason that we do that publish test drive is because the preview, it's not really 100% what your end user is going to see. Sometimes it can get a little wonky. So definitely when you are testing this out, use that publish and test drive. And you can do that as many times as you want. It's not limited at all. And that will definitely show you exactly what your end user is going to see, which is what Josh will pull up right now.
Yep, so once we have that up there, we've got our select a tour button. All right, in this list that we added, taking us to that tour, select a tour page that has the 2 different landing page options. So clicking into here, we've got our begin tour. And there's nothing above it because I did leave the image and the text box blank. If you have anything typed in there or an image uploaded, it would be showing up here.
Yes, this is a great question, Josh, in terms of, is there going to be a preview function on the MyTours version 3?
Yes, there is. And I cannot wait for it. It actually is just a little box that's going to be over on the side here. So you'll have, kind of your same builder look and feel here. Won't look just like the OnCell one, but same structure. And then over on the side here is just going to be a preview option that as you're making your changes right here, it's going to be reflected real time over on the side.
Yeah, that is a feature that everyone is very, very excited about. Also, in terms of questions, Mark is wondering, Josh, just about badges on the OnCell Builder when you buy a new phone, because unfortunately those phones, like new phones, don't save them.
Right. And we have had that come up before, and so that would kind of get into a username functionality where you would actually be logging in. You'd have a username and password for the app. Well, the end user would, I should say. So then they would be logging in that way, and that way they would actually be able to save some different things. And it's not something that we currently have available. It's something we have explored in the past. It's unfortunate the way Google, well, I guess it's good for the end user that Google Play and Apple are, at least in theory, looking out for our best interests. But they have some pretty strict regulations around collecting personal data. So that's kind of been one of the pushbacks, that we've seen with that. But it is something, definitely worth keeping an eye on and exploring for down the road.
All right. So is there any more questions on MyTours? Any other questions on maybe there is. Christina's wondering where you can view the recorded webinars. She wants to view this just to incorporate it into the current exhibition and do a tour. That's totally good. We are recording, we just recorded these 2 today, the morning one and the afternoon one, and then we're gonna go and upload it to YouTube today and then send that link out probably tomorrow, because I know we're trying to consolidate our emails because people are getting a lot of them. So we will post that to YouTube and send out the links tomorrow with the reminder of the webinar next week. And then we'll also be in touch again probably on Monday or Tuesday to remind you about those Wednesday webinars. They are going to be the same links. So once you have those links for the morning webinar and the afternoon webinar, you have those all set up. So keep an eye out for those links the client managers are going to send out. We'll start keeping all of these on our YouTube so that anyone can refer back to them. Also, Josh just pulled up the Help Center. This is where you'll also be able to see the steps and kind of walking you through how to do certain things. But these videos will also go on our YouTube as well. All right, and in terms of next week's, we are asking people to let your client managers know, or feel free to email me directly. Let us know what you're looking to look for or learn about next week or the weeks after, and we will be able to then incorporate that. We definitely want to make sure we're giving you information that you're going to use in the long run and that is going to help you guys get these tours up and running quick and efficiently. So anything you're looking to learn about, quizzes, badges, resizing images is another question we got. We'll cover all of that stuff, but there also might be things that we're not thinking of that you really want to learn more about. Maybe how to incorporate that photo filter is a good one. So definitely let us know. And then we also have another question: which client apps are on V3 already and online to check out? Josh, do you want to go over those ones? It's DC and Walt Disney Museum.
Yeah, so the Walt Disney Family Museum and Cultural Tourism DC both have apps up on that V3. Walt Disney Family, it's downloadable from the App Store and Google Play, and then also available as a web app. So I will send those links through the chat here for it. And then DC is just a web app. So also send that through here.
Okay, and Gloria also wants to see some examples of who is using the badges, the scavenger hunt, and the quizzes. Probably send through Mount Rushmore is a great one. We have a Mount Rushmore app, which is called Junior Ranger Quest, and that one uses badges and quizzes to create this game. It's really fun for kids, and then they can do it at home or on site, and then they actually go on site to earn a little badge, an actual Junior Rangers badge, which is fun and would kind of be that added incentive, right, of going on site when everyone reopens. So those are those three. So the first two that Josh sent through, those are version 3 of the MyTours Builder, and then Junior Ranger Quest is an OnCell app that uses quizzes and badges and almost like a scavenger hunt. And also another one that's great is Find Your Independence. And that one is also good for the quizzes and gamification as well. That is only in the Apple and Google Play Store, so you have to look that up. It was for Independence, Missouri, kind of. We have another question with you. Kind of just for people who were used to that Oregon Trail game. It's kind of modeled after that, but it's really cool, and there's a lot of gamification in it for kids, and is perfect to show what a remote experience looks like. And then Mark is also wondering, Josh, have we made a page to earn a badge?
Mark, is that a page kind of explaining how the end user would earn a badge, or a help article on how to create a badge?
Here, I'll unmute me. I got that question from somebody that's developing, because explain somebody that's using the app for the first time how to earn a badge. We know how to do it, but explain how maybe get the geo where it would go off. So something that would be put on the home page that explains it. If you've already got that created,
okay,
I can paste it into the app.
No, that's actually a good idea. We don't have anything like that created, but that should be something we could write up pretty easily.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah. So essentially, what Mark is asking is, how, information for the user on how to earn a badge. So there are two ways of earning a badge. You can either, the badge is earned by accessing a page that badge is linked to. So if it's set up as a quiz, you get the correct answer, it takes you to the page that the badge triggers, and then that badge is earned. Another way of going about that, if you're not doing necessarily a quiz, and that's what Mark's app does. He's got a great app here, actually in the Finger Lakes region, of all the different hiking trails. And so in order to earn these badges, you actually have to get to the end of the trail where he has a geolocation set up, and it triggers a page that is connected to a badge to earn it that way. So yeah, I think we could get something written up kind of explaining both of those that would be helpful to the end users.
Thank you.
And then Gloria is also wondering, Josh, about adding social links in MyTours.
Yep. So right now, MyTours does have. So are you, Gloria? Are you looking to have people kind of access your social media or share your tours on their own social media? MyTours does have a share feature where if anybody is in the app, they can share that particular page on any social media that they have downloaded. So Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. And then currently, right now, it would be kind of a hyperlink would be the way to have people access your own social media accounts. And I have heard that that is something V3 has coming sooner rather than later. So we might want to take a look and see if your app is a good move over there. Again, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, feel free to get in touch, Gloria, and we'll look at the feature parity on your current app for MyTours and the version 3 and kind of see how easy it would be to migrate that over, especially now with maybe some downtime on the tourism side. So yeah, we can definitely look at that, and maybe it will be a good thing to start migrating over now, and maybe those features for you might work a little bit better. So yeah, just if anyone has any more questions or anything, feel free to share those. In the meantime, again, this was really basic today, but we are going to be going a little bit more in depth over the next few weeks on things that you want to learn more about. But again, share that so that we know what you're really looking for, what's going to help you, what questions have come up as you're building that maybe we can review with everyone, because we're noticing a lot of people do have the same questions. So we just want to make sure we're providing you with the information that you're really going to use. And it is harder for us, people who know the builders really well to kind of come up with questions that, you have right at the beginning, first looking at the builder. So it is really helpful for us to kind of hear what your questions are. And then Josh, there was another, can you see the Q&A, Josh, as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah, thanks, Mark. So Mark, again, with the Hit the Trails Wayne County app, he had put in a kind of just a little blurb on the homepage of the app, kind of to let people know about the COVID-19 situation. And then let me just grab the specific wording for it there.
And that's another thing too, is putting in the apps, when are you going to reopen, what's kind of going on at your organization about, COVID, and just keeping people updated as much as you can through your apps as well. Whoever has it downloaded on their phone, that's a good one to share, Mark. Good idea.
Yep. So it does, what it says is our parks and trails are more important than ever to our physical and mental well-being. To ensure these treasured outdoor spaces stay open, please take the hashtag Parks Pledge to keep parks and trails safe for everyone, and urge your family and friends to do the same. So yeah, some great info.
All right, if there's no more questions, again, feel free to get in touch and keep an eye out for the recording that we'll send out tomorrow from our YouTube. And thanks everyone for joining, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks everyone.
Bye everyone.